Welcome back to LDB Games. I'm Lord Darth Balls, and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video, and this is a little different video than I've usually done. This was my first, I guess we'll say, attempt at a takeover and helping Mayokai77 here improve his clan boss team. So Mayokai came to me, and he was doing, as you can see here, about 19 million per key on Ultra Nightmare. Now, 19 million a key, you need 4 keys. And for anyone that's just reached Ultra Nightmare, using 4 keys in a day is like painful. You have to be around at the right times. You got to make sure you're always paying attention to your keys and what time you're starting in the morning and what time you're finishing at night. And the logistics of it is struggle. It's a struggle sometimes. So he reached out for help reaching a little bit better of a team. So I jumped into his account and I didn't record, and I'll do it differently next time. This was a good learning experience. I didn't record any of my process helping him out, but I want to record the results. So when I got in here, I used the same team because he only had about 600,000 silver. And there wasn't really going to be any silver coming in soon. So these 5 here are the team that he's using, right? He's got Brogni, Venomage, Toragi, Onyx, and Fark in the Fat. So it's very expensive to build a champion from scratch. And given the minimal amount of silver he had, and frankly, the minimal amount of accessories, he had about 550 accessories when I came in here, artifacts. So I sold probably close to 2 to 3 million silver worth, and it was only enough to tweak the champions that are here. Now, as I took a look through the champions, I noticed a couple things. Only one of them had 100% crit rate, and 100% crit rate in the clan boss is crucial because you want your hits doing damage. The more, when you have 100% crit rate, the higher damage potential you have, and the more damage you'll get from masteries like War Master. The only champion that had 100% crit rate was Brogni. Everyone else was very, very low crit rate, primarily built to survive, which worked getting him close to that 20 million mark because of the debuffs that his team brings. So real quick, let's walk through the value of each of these champions in this team because it's not a bad team in terms of champion composition. Brogni comes in with an increased attack, a block debuffs, and a nice fat shield. He does have, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown, which is important to remember. He does have an HP burn on his A1, which can bring some nice extra damage. And he's got an AoE that has a cleanse, but we don't use the cleanse here. But has the ability to increase the value of shields based on the damage he does, which is really nice. Venomage comes in as a really nice debuffer, right? A1 has a chance of activating poisons, and there's quite a bit of poison in this squad. The A2 has a decreased defense and a decreased attack, which are 2 very critical debuffs for the clan boss. Decreased defense allows you to do more damage, excuse me, and decreased attack allows you to withstand more damage. Now, Venomage also comes in with heal reduction and poisons on her A3, or his A3. His A3, and that activates his passive, which mitigates damage when the clan boss has heal reduction. It reduces the damage you take from clan boss by 15%. So that, combined with the decreased attack, is the reason that I was able to help this team out, because that is one of the best, in combination with the rest of the team, it's one of the best ways of reducing the incoming damage. Now, another way is the reason Toragi's in here. Now, Toragi is an incredible champion, and Toragi comes in with an ally protection, which is, again, a damage reduction on your team, and he takes a chunk of that damage that is reduced from the rest of the team. He adds a reflect damage and a shield onto it, allowing for, giving some extra damage back and just helping mitigate some of that damage with the shield. We turn his A2 off because you can't provoke the clan boss, and his A1's got a decreased attack. So now we have 2 champions with the solid decreased attack on them to help try to keep that up as much as possible, right? Because in a traditional clan boss team when you're not able to build an unkillable team, because that's the first thing I did. I went to see, and you notice he's got Dimitri here. Unfortunately, there's no comp in here to make that is unkillable. He's very close. Very close, maybe 1 or 2 champions away. If you can't do that, you need to do as much damage as possible, as fast as possible, before you get taken out. When you reach turn 20, round 20 from the clan boss, his damage really starts to ramp up. So you want to get as much damage in as fast as possible before you reach round 20, turn 20, because it's really going to start to hurt. So for damage, Anax comes in, and Anax has a decreased defense on the A1, which is really nice. Poisons on the A2. I kind of wish he didn't have the decreased accuracy, but c'est la vie. And a weaken on the A3, which is really nice. And he's got this really cool passive, which puts an increased defense on him when his HP drops below a certain threshold, and an increased attack when it drops below a certain threshold. It also just gives him an extra turn, which is kind of cool. He's got some really cool mechanics that I didn't know about. I've never used Anax before. And then Farik and the Fat comes in here. We got to change that blessing. That's not doing us any good. And he's got a decreased defense on the A1 as well. So now we have 3 champions with decreased defense. He's got poisons and HP burns on the A2, more damage. And he's got his ally attack on the A3, bringing more hits from the entire team. He's got some extra damage mitigation here, but it's damage that he takes and he spreads it out. Now this actually comes in handy, at least in the fight I've been doing against Spirit Affinity, because he's taken the stun, and this passive basically, it takes that stun, which is a big hit, and it reduces the damage it does and spreads what's left on the rest of your team, which is really nice. So the other thing I noticed when I came in is Brogni and Venomage were running very fast. We're talking like 200 plus. Actually, Brogni, Venomage, and Taragi were all running over 200 speed. And Anax was running below 150. Now, when you run champions that have 3-turn cooldown mechanics that you want to use, right? So let's take Brogni's A3. Having block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown allows you to block all of the debuffs that the affinity clan bosses give you, as well as the stun on his A1, right? So that's 2 different abilities that have debuffs that you're able to block with this block debuffs. And the only way to get that effective throughout the entire fight is to get him running on par with the clan boss's speed. So Ultra Nightmare clan boss runs at about 190. Which means you realistically want all of your champions between 171 and 189. That puts you at what's called a 1-to-1 ratio for clan boss, which means you take 1 turn, every one of your champions takes 1 turn to the clan boss's 1 turn. And that keeps this 3-turn cooldown in sync, right? Same thing goes for Taragi and his ally protection shield and reflect damage. So it's super important to bring those speeds down within that threshold of 171 to 190, and I had to get Anax above 170 because I need him taking turns. So let's recap a little bit. Only Brogni had 100% crit rate, and 3 of the champions were over 200 speed, which created a little bit of a mess of a run, right? So I had to bring everybody up to 100% crit rate, and I had to bring the speeds down to a specific threshold so that all of these abilities worked the right way at the right time. So we're sitting with Brogni at 100% crit rate with enough accuracy to land the HP burn. Now, this isn't really that necessary for this fight. If anything, we can take this and we can dump it into his HP to give a bigger shield to try to last longer in this fight. But again, this account was very limited in terms of silver, so there's only so much that I can do, and I had to prioritize. I've probably sold 2 to 2.5, 3 million worth of silver at this point, and it hasn't gotten me very far. But it's gotten me far enough, right? So Venomage, we've got at 100% crit rate, running 173 speed. A little low on the defense, could use a little bit more. You really want to get above 2,800 defense for Ultra Nightmare. 260 is kind of the sweet spot for accuracy. 230 to 250 is really where you want to be, with like some halfway decent HP. Taragi is running at 172, enough accuracy to do the job, a nice fat chunk of HP. Little low on the defense, but that's okay. He is the first one to die, so that defense is going to be important to bring up. Anax is running really low in the defense, but he's mainly here for damage and debuffs. So I've got him near at 100% crit rate, 168% crit damage, and enough accuracy to do the job with a nice chunk of attack here. And Farrakhan is running with almost 100% crit rate, enough accuracy to land his debuffs, and he's actually fairly tanky in terms of defense. He could use another 8,000 to 10,000 HP just to be safe. But real quick, let's go through those speeds again, because you'll notice I got Farrakhan running at 175. I've got Onyx running at 179, so we go Onyx, Farrakhan. I've got Venomage running at 173. I've got, who's next? Taragi running at 172, and Brogni running at 171. So they're all within 9 speed of each other, which helps to keep the turn meter ticks consistent and maintain a consistent turn order. Now, another thing I noticed is when you are trying to speed tune certain abilities into the clan boss, there's a mastery that can cause a problem, and that's Cycle of Magic. So if I expect, or if I'm looking to have Brogni use the same ability at the same time every single 3 turns, I can't have this random chance of reducing the cooldown because it'll change the order of his skills. I want it to happen the same exact way every 3 turns, like clockwork, until I'm taken out. So Cycle of Magic had to get taken out, had to get removed. And most of the masteries were pretty good. However, when it comes to Clan Boss, you do want War Master unless you have a triple hit on the A1. War Master is what really gets you the extra bonus damage, which helps ramp up your team's damage overall. Still getting used to this software, so that's fun. Cool. So, real quick, I'll show you. Same thing down here, a little different. I didn't actually redo Venomage's. But this is okay on Venomage because it doesn't have to be every 3 turns. I mean, it would be better if it wasn't, because then we can land the heal reduction more consistently. Because the key to reaching, right, he was doing 4 key range. What I've just changed this team to has gotten him into a 3 key range, which is way more manageable than 4 key. Like worlds more manageable than 3 key. He's close right now because he was at 38 before, so that was about a 25 million damage key. Now, when it comes to this team, the AI is really important too, and you actually have to, with this specific team, you kind of have to manual 1 turn at some point. So Taragi's A2 gets turned off, and I want him opening with his A1. However, I don't want him using his A3 until after the clan boss uses his stun. So I want him to actually use his A2 twice in a row. And that's a limitation that the AI in the system doesn't, it's a limitation of the AI. It's impossible to do that. Venomage, I want him opening with heal reduction because this is key for survival in this fight, right? Venomage's passive reduces the amount of damage you take when the enemy has heal reduction. So I want to get this out as soon as possible. Farrakhan, I have prioritizing his ally attack because that just brings everyone's attacks into the mix. It brings the decreased defense from Anax's A1, and it brings the decreased attack from Taragi's A1 to try to get that on as soon as possible as well. Anax, I have him prioritizing his A3 because I want the weaken up, right? I'm getting decreased defense up pretty quickly, but I really want that weaken up because no one has it on their A1. And then Brogni, I want him to open with his block debuffs and use his AI normally. And because of the speed tunes and the fix and the masteries, that ensures that block debuffs is up for the second AoE hit and the stun every single time around. Now for Spirit Affinity Clan Boss, that blocks the decreased speed end the stun, allowing my team to get more turns and it to not throw my team out of whack. Because once decreased speed lands, someone's going to fall below 170 speed, which is sort of like the threshold for clan boss, and you start falling below a 1-to-1 ratio. And you can no longer keep up. And if it's Brogni, that block debuff isn't going to do you any good anymore. It's going to come at random times. It's going to come at when you don't want it. So let's get into this run. So here we are, right? We went from 18, 19 million a key to 24, 25 million a key, which brings it into a comfortable 3-key range, allowing Mayokai 77 to get back to other areas of the game to find better gear, to get more glyphs in Faction Wars, and to just improve his account overall. So that's what I got, guys. I hope this helped. If somebody else is looking for an account takeover, come join my Discord. I'm going to include the link down below, so you can go click on that when you go click subscribe to my channel. I'd love to do more takeovers like this and try to help you all progress in the game if you might be stuck or you're having trouble. Again, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching. I've been Lord Darth Balls. I'll catch you on the next video. Enjoy your raid.